All right, then, big guys, we're here. The new podcast. Do you want to tell people what we're doing, seeing as it's your brand on the screen, or do you want me to?
Yeah, we had a little debate, didn't we? About whose logo was going to be out there, but
He beat me in an arm wrestle, so all man's gone up.
yeah, I think we'll be cycling the logo as we do more episodes. But this is technically the pilot episode, isn't it, mate? So we're talking about the male advantage. We'll be talking about your brand. We'll be talking about my brand and fatherhood and business in general, and ultimately why men need the work that we're doing right now with the way society is. We'll go into way more detail than kind of just the surface level. What's wrong with the industry right now, our plans for 2025. All of this isn't going to be covered in one episode, but I'm kind of going to set the tone here and say, this is what we're going to do. This is the intention and why we're starting this podcast. Because we genuinely feel that 2025 is the year for change. And
it has to be.
It has to be. And I know this is massively passionate topic for you as well, mate, because you've seen the start of the industry and you've seen it decline over the years. And now, we're kind of ready to pounce, aren't we?
It's just like with anything, with popularity comes a lower sense of quality. And the problem is mystified because all the camera quality's gone up, the production quality's gone up, the vlogs have gone up, but the content itself has got weaker. So it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And like we said, like I meet a guy like you who's got children, who's got a wife, who's got the next phase of life. And that's where the subscribers are going. That's where the industry, that's where everyone wants to head. Do you know what I mean? That is the future. Like that's all of our end goals. But it's kind of been muddied in lime green Lamborghinis. And it's such a shame. Yeah. So we're just in this middle ground right now. And me and Gaz just said, look, based on, I like to grab the guys at 18 and take them through the male advantage. And then your brand is all about what comes next. So it's like, if we can build a sustainable business that takes guys from 18 and drops them off at like 40 and just says, here's everything, here's the entire roadmap, I can die happy. I can be proud of that. I think that's a very good legacy to leave, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I started really kind of changing my life when I was 30 and I didn't find anything that would relate to my age. It was all guys who were early 20s, really young, maybe even 19, 18, 19. And they were talking about drop shipping or Amazon FBA and all of this other stuff. And for me, if you want to do that, if you want to make money that way, fine, right? Props to you if that's what you really want to do. But I was thinking that isn't going to give me the life that I want because I'm thinking about family. I was engaged at the time and then I got married 2 years after that at the age of 32. So I'm thinking, is this really going to set me up? And this is what we're here to do. We're here to set guys up. We're not here to say, build a shallow business, make stack loads of cash, right? Like I said, if you want to do that, fine. But what comes next? And no one's really talking about that. It's just make bank and just see what life is. The more materialistic stuff you buy, the better your life will be. But I know that's not true. And that's not true because we've been in that position. We've literally bought the stuff. We bought the watches, we bought the bags. For you women, we bought the cars, like we've lived in nice places. And you still sit there going, I need more, I need more, I need more. And if you log online now and you go on Instagram, the young men, specifically the young men that Chris appeals to, the 18, 19-year-olds are just lost in life because everyone's making 10, 15, 20K. And they feel so insignificant. And this is something that we've spoken about.
Yeah. The behind the scenes stuff is the worst as well. Because obviously I've been in the industry now probably like 10 years. People tell me stuff that they don't publicly tell people. Yeah. I get to see behind the scenes. I get to see what people are really doing. They come to me with stories and stuff like that. The whole industry is fraudulent. I mean, the statistics add that like 98% of cars over 20 grand are rented, which makes sense. Which makes sense, right? Like, why would you buy it? Like, I was on about getting a McLaren. I would rent it every month. I would lease it. There's literally no point buying it. But it's the honesty, because everyone thinks, oh, this new 18-year-old has just gone and dropped. And it's like, no, he could be making 6 grand per month, 5 grand per month, which is amazing money. But he's at home with parents and he's leasing a Lamborghini. And then he's sending a course on it. And you go, wow, he must have all the answers. He might be 6 months away from pure destruction. Post-tax, like he could be destroyed. And it's like, okay, so what is the actual roadmap? Where do we go from here? Do we continue following these gurus with the lime green Lamborghini, or do we actually have a model in place, something like this, which is, 1stMan, which I love the name because it encompasses that, of somebody who, can have an actual roadmap journey laid out in front of them where It's like we're trying to take you to 37 years old, sat in your big, beautiful house, which is all paid for. You've got money in the bank, all taxes paid, business set up in the perfect way. You're dressing a certain way. You're conducting yourself in a certain manner. You've got, your beautiful wife. So it's just one woman rather than 15 on a yacht, and it's like you've got structure, you've got stability, you've not got people leeching off you. That's sustainable. Because I literally did a school call this morning and one of the guys said, why is it so easy to become top 1%? I was like, it's not. It's just easy as a one-off. Any idiot can do, 181 grand in a year, right? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But any idiot can actually do it. You could do that from scrap metal if you put in enough hours. You could be a personal trainer charging like £500 an hour, and you do enough hours, you could squeeze that in with group sessions and stuff like that. You could do it. It's the sustainability. Can you do that over 10 years? Because all the wealthiest people I know, they've done like 100 grand a year for 10 years. 20 years, 30 years, and then their missus has done the same. And then collectively, they've just made investments, they've diversified the money, they own stuff, which is important. People don't realize how much stuff makes you rich. Just having stuff, because you can sell stuff, you can rent said stuff. Do you know what I mean? So it just makes it easy. Like even if you had these microphones, this table, this camera, it's all sellable. So it just allows, that's what net worth is. You know what I mean? When everyone says, oh, I'm rich and whatnot, it's not, it's the net worth. They're the richest people. But anybody can have a good year. The problem is now you get an 18-year-old kid that has a good year and then starts talking about how to become successful. I refused to talk about success for the first 4 years on my YouTube channel. Refused to talk about it. Oh, you should do more videos on success. I was like, I'm not there yet. But I was still doing like 117 grand a year. I was like, but for me, that's not success yet.
Yeah.
I was like, success is like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It's like sports. Anybody can have a good season. But what about a career?
Yeah.
And that's what, that's who I would trust.
Yeah.
And the problem is you've got the average person's in a 9-to-5 job. Most of these people online today that are telling you how to live and whatnot have never worked a job. They're 21, 22 years old. When did they do 10-year careers? When did they, they came out of uni, started a channel, bang, success. Because the industry was too easy. But now it's getting difficult and everyone's going to drop out. And that's when we come to the forefront, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the people that are in the industry right now, they're always trying to appeal to the same people. They're not evolving with their audience.
Yeah.
And the people that I appeal to, or I would have appealed to, should I say, if I'd started younger when I was in my 20s, and not the people I'm appealing to now at the age of 35. I know those people are married or they're looking to get married. They're looking to have kids. And this whole brand that we're creating and I'm creating, and obviously Chris is going to be part of that as well, and I'll be part of his brand, 1M. We're talking about the whole male stratosphere, manosphere, if you like.
Yeah.
So we're going to take these men to the stratosphere, should I say, and look down at their life and think, okay, how can I maximize what I'm looking at right now? And it's not just ground level, it's not boots on the ground, and it's not looking at, blinkers on only one aspect, which is money in most cases, right? It's looking at, all right, when I'm above it, 30,000 feet, what can I see? How does my life look? And if, you're not in shape, you don't have the right woman by your side, you don't have the potential to have a really solid family life or a base for your family. You don't have assets, like you were saying, net worth. You don't have the potential even to buy assets because you're just spending money on this shit that you don't need, throwing it away for likes and validation. If you can kind of tick these boxes and engineer a life that gives you fulfillment and gives you joy, that gives your future wife a fantastic life, and she doesn't resent you and she respects you and she's not surface level, and you step up as a man and you actually step into the best version of you rather than just a shallow guy that wants to live in Dubai and not pay any taxes and hide and rent a Lamborghini. We see that it's a dime a dozen on Instagram, it's a dime a dozen on any social media platform, and people are getting so bored of it.
Yeah, they are.
People are getting sick of it, and that's why it's so hard for anyone who's genuine now to actually break through, because everyone just gets tired with the same brush. Oh, you're just a scammer. You're just a guy that's trying to sell me a course. It's like, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not. And the industry does need to wake up, because there are really good people out there. I know a lot of them, and you know a lot of them as well, but they're just getting battered left, right, and center because they can't break through all the bullshit, because being polarizing, being loud, being obnoxious, throwing money in people's faces, it sells. But eventually their luck will run out. eventually their luck will run out. And this is why we're building now for 2025. And if you're listening to this now and, you know, you run a drop shipping course and you post the kind of content that I hate to see online, where you're sitting in a rented capsule that pretends to be a private jet or something like that, right? Or you're renting a Lamborghini for $1,000, $1,500 a month in Dubai, whatever it is, where they're so common. And you're thinking, oh, these guys are talking shit. We're coming for you. Like, we're genuinely coming for you. And you are not going to know what's hit you. I'm telling you now, I'm going to call you out, because whoever you are listening to this, you're just not ready for what's coming. Like, you are going to die out. Your industry will die out. People will get bored. And the people that will stand the test of time and be here in 10 years' time are people like us that are building actual, real human relationships and connections and not just surface level bullshit. And this is me speaking and venting a little bit because I'm just sick of it now. Like, I've been in this industry for 5 years. Chris has been in it for a lot longer than I have. And we've seen it change, and it's changing again for 2025. Raw, authentic content is coming back. You know, the high-level edits, the transitions, the dopamine clicks, and all of that other stuff that people are kind of putting in their content 23, 24, you know, 1 or 2 years ago. People are just getting bored of it now. And we're gonna shake things up a little bit. This podcast is just the start of that. So yeah, I don't care who you are. You know, you're richer than me, more successful than me, fine. Right. But I've got a great family. I can take care of my wife. I've got people like Chris around me who support me. I've got great people in my network. I'm not here to have anyone sponge off of me, and I'm not here to sponge off of anyone. I'm not here to sell anyone a course. I'm here to give them an aspirational identity and help people because I genuinely give a fuck. And if you don't care, people are just going to snuff you out. You'll be here today and gone tomorrow. And I've seen it time and time again. The guys that will come in, they'll step in, they'll make money, they'll disappear. And they'll be sitting in a nice apartment in Miami with no one to share it with. And they'll lose all their money because they're just trying to fill a hole in a void. And that will be you. So unless you're changing now and you're adapting for 2025, trust me, you are going to be gone, and we're going to take over and we're going to fill that space.
No, I couldn't agree more. That's brilliant. Do you know what it reminds me of when I first got into the industry? And it was, remember I kept saying in my early videos, I want to destroy GQ. I want to get rid of them. That's what's happened again. So, and what my problem with GQ was, everything was an ad. Everything was like buy our magazine, but every page you turned it over and it was an ad. It was like, here's the 5 best shoes you should buy this winter, or boots you should buy this winter. They were ads paid for by those companies. And then, we did an interview with Brad Pitt, and he's rolling down a sand dune. There's an actual video online where he's rolling down a sand dune. And I was like, you're not helping men anymore. When you first started, you were helping men. And I was like, I'm going to correct that. As the industry grew, and then I do think I'm massively to blame because I did quote how much I was making. And then overnight, I'll never forget it, about 100 clones popped up. They must have been watching the video and go, oh, if he's making that, I'll do it. I reckon I could do the same. I could make videos. It's like, the problem is there's no barrier to entry. It's like, you know, it's Step Brothers. Yeah, you know, when he goes, he wants to be a doctor. He's like, don't you need to be qualified? Yeah, but he says, like, it's who you know, not what you know. That's what happens. And everybody just went, you know, I reckon as long as there's no barrier to entry, there's no qualification, you grab one of these things, you could be sat in your mum's basement, nobody knows, and you're an expert. Like, I won't name names, but I know a lot of people that were living in their like mum's basement, mum's attic, whatever, and they would make content, they'd be screaming down the mic, chat, 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 listen to this, listen to that. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this person is, you know, never had a job, kind of bottom of the ladder in terms of earning potential, in terms of life experience, whatever, giving advice to young men. It's dangerous. And then the industry, like with anything, absolutely any industry, the problem is you start getting results, it's very pure, and then people start to find what works, and they start to tweak and they start to test. And it goes from like SEO in the early days, which is search engine optimization. In the early days, people would just type in what they wanted to find, you know, and everyone would do it in a proper way. Then it became what they call like black hat strategies, where you start doing like real dodgy stuff. And you start writing your, like, let's say you want to rank for badminton. You write badminton for 500 times in white on a white background, and it's on that page. So you rank #1. All of that stuff started happening. Then it started happening on blogs. When I was writing blogs, instead of just writing good content, people were searching, what are people searching for? And then they were finding that and then writing an article on it.
Yeah.
And it's happened on YouTube now. People, you can see, I can tell whose video has been done organically and whose video has been custom made for the algorithm. And what a lot of them do is they target young people, because young people drives in views, but you don't have a business.
Yeah.
If all of your audience is 16, you might have 1 million views on a video, but you don't have an audience. You don't have anybody who's going to buy anything, who's going to support you, who's going to push your business forwards. The narrative within the group is going to be very childish. You know, they're gonna play up to a certain type of content narrative, which is all women are terrible and you should, you know, and they're not going to understand the world. That for me is vanity metrics. It's fickle, but it gets clicks, and that's a problem because then the lime green Lamborghini comes in. Do you know what I didn't like? This is when the industry changed. It was when people started making sound bites. And I did a lot of podcasts with people, a lot of interviews and stuff like that. I met up with these people and they said, like, before the podcast, what's your like soundbite? What's like your one-liner? I was like, what the fuck am I, a comedian? I was like, what are you talking about? I don't have a script. I'm not going off there. I was like, I thought we were just going to have a chat. And they were like, yeah, but what's your, like, have you not rehearsed like 4 or 5 sentences that you want to make sure that we ask the question for? I was like, what is this? I thought I was on Jimmy Fallon. I was like, this is ridiculous. But apparently that's the thing there. And you can see, so what they do is they like strip other videos that have done well, break it down into a simpler format, turn that into a 1 or 2 sentence TikTokable soundbite, and then push that out on a 3-hour podcast, snip that up, get 10 accounts that are in Indonesia that look like fan accounts that aren't, to push their message out.
Yeah.
And then that person goes viral and everyone goes, oh, this guy must know what he's talking about. And it's like 0 credentials, just very good at marketing.
Yeah.
If you want to buy anything off these guys, marketing course. Buy a marketing course. That's it. Everything else, forget about it. They're all full of shit. But marketing course on how to scam yourself. Like, honestly, if you were to reverse engineer what they've done, genius.
Yeah.
Everything else, waste of time. Like you said, like, do you really want to be? I've had a colorful past, put it that way. Like, I've enjoyed myself. That's just who I am. I enjoy doing that thing. Like, people used to give Dan Bilzerian shit. He enjoys it. You know, I enjoy it and whatnot. But there's no value in it. I see the value in having one very good woman. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think anybody's ever done that. As I was saying to some of the guys the other day, they're like, I want to start a YouTube video. This is on the school community. I want to start a YouTube channel. I was like, okay, what you should do is document your journey from the mud. You should say, look, hey guys, my name is John. I'm broke. I want to become successful. I'm going to try and do everything I can to become successful. I'm going to document every step of the way and try and show you how easy it is, how hard it is, what works, what doesn't. If you think that's fun and you want to learn something, follow me. Honestly, the authenticity in this era now, that would go so viral. But everybody now comes into the industry and goes, okay, I have to pretend to be rich. You're already starting at a losing point because you're building up no sustainability in the brand. People are just going, oh, this guy is really fun. I watch all his clips.
Yeah.
You're watching clips, man. Like, what's that going to do? This is not a real business. And then whatever money that person makes, they go straight to Dubai, straight to Thailand. They pay 0 tax. You're literally following criminals.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
There's no substance behind it, is there?
Yeah. I made the documentary, Fatherless Generation.
Yeah.
This is worse. This is worse because without a dad is bad, but your role model now are scammers. Your role models now are guys that are going, get 50 strippers on the payroll, you know, get 9 cars that have been stolen from an Eastern European country, pay cash for them, and then just film yourself on every social media platform, just saying quick little one-liners, and that makes you a top 1% alpha male. And I think it's way worse. Whereas if there were more dads in place, I genuinely think my dad, you know, he you know, when I was 14, my dad left. But from memory, if I was watching these videos at 14 and my dad saw me, he would have looked and gone, you don't want to listen to those pussies. If like, that fucking guy's a tosser. He'd like turn that shit off. Like, what's he talking about? Yeah, like that's what dads do. They step in, they see the bullshit before you do. They sniff it out. They're like, that's a problem. Hopefully we can help in some sense.
Does that now, mate.
Yeah.
My man still says that. What's this shit you're looking at?
You call me out.
Yeah. No, he's always looked out for me, mate. But yeah, I completely agree. The scamming now is just rife. I've been a victim of it, mate. I had literally had 15 grand scammed this year from an investment in shares that went wrong, and I know you've had it as well.
Yeah.
And it's very, very easy. It doesn't mean you're an idiot for falling for it. It genuinely doesn't. These guys are getting so good now, and they're so clever with the way that they talk and the way that they market themselves. And this is why authentic content will win, because you can document your journey. If you go back on my Instagram to 2011, when I first got Instagram, I think that's when it was launched, 2011.
Yeah,
I literally started posting random videos of like holidays, like when I went to Las Vegas when I was 21, and right the way through to being at my job at BMW, there's photos of me like standing next to M3s and M6s, you know, and big, like stuff like that. And then playing golf, and then my fitness journey, and then meeting my partner and getting married and all of this other stuff. And then Harrison coming along. You can literally see that whole timeline. The guys that appear overnight that then start flexing money, and then they're you know, they're in Dubai, they're in a penthouse, or they're in Miami, wherever it is. You're like, where's this fucking guy come from? Like, no one questions that. No one looks at Instagram. No one looks at YouTube and thinks, where's the rest of his content? Like, he's literally just appeared overnight. And I can go on eBay now. Anyone go on eBay or Amazon. I can literally buy fake money, like prop money, right? I can get a credit card. I can rent a Lamborghini for a couple of grand, put a deposit on my card of $5 grand, whatever it is, pay you $2 grand for the rental for a couple of days. I can pose next to it. Or I can film content in that Lambo. And then I can post that, and I can say, buy my course, buy my
5 outfit changes.
There you go, right? So it's so easy. It's so easy now to do this. And this is, again, why the authentic content is going to win, because we're putting stuff out of our entire journey from, this podcast is part of the journey, but being out and about in London, being all over the world, like 1M International, we'll talk about in a minute, right? Your brand. You can literally see like entire documentaries or entire journeys now on social media rather than just surface level clips. And this is where the swing is going to come. 2025, people are going to be going to the long form content because the trust factor is just diminished now. Everyone is like, well, I'm going to buy this guy's course. Because people are getting smarter now. I'm going to buy this course. Let me look at the journey that this guy's been on. There's only 30-second clips on his Instagram. There's nothing about his journey. There's nothing that he's posted on YouTube about where he's come from or how he lives his life or whatever. You know, for my brand, I started this to literally get my wife and son on there and document my son from, he's nearly 2, from the age of 2, basically, right the way up to, I don't know, 10, maybe even more, like maybe in teenage years, right? And people can see my journey as I build wealth, as I do podcasts, as I coach people, as I help people, as I build my brand alongside Chris, and as Chris builds his brand. And then 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, the proof is undeniable.
Yeah.
You can say, well, right, these guys started in a podcast studio in London, a very nice podcast studio, mind you, right? But now they're in an apartment building in central London or in West London. Like, look at their journey. And then we're like vlogging their journey. Now, we're even going to do probably some of that today, right? We're actually going to vlog it because we are going to be looking at an apartment in London later this afternoon, because it's recording this now at 20 to 12 and on the 26th of November. And we're going to be vlogging all of this. I've literally got my camera guy coming down to vlog this so people can see, actually, you know, these guys are making moves. These guys are building a timeline of events. You know, we're not just only showing the highlight reels of when we're in the apartment and then when we get guests on. You know, we're going to be doing everything, right? We're going to be showing everything. Like, I'll be showing the car that I drive, you know, it's a 22 plate Skoda, still a 25 grand car.
I love that.
Right. But I'm not going to be trying to pretend that I still live a good life. You know, I'm still wearing a 5 grand watch on my wrist, right? So anyone who wants to judge me, they judge away, right? But I'm not here to flex. I'm just here to build a great life for my family and help people. And Chris is going to help me do that. And I'm going to help him do that as well. And we're just going to be a cohesive unit. And we've got a team of guys around us that are absolute killers. We had a first proper call with them yesterday. Like, those guys are just so well drilled, and they're going to be operating in the shadows. And Chris and I are going to be the visionaries. And all of this stuff is going to be there for you guys to see. So you can start following now. Chris has been on, how long have you been on YouTube now, mate? What, since like
20? Probably 6 years, but doing blogs for, well,
at least 2015.
10 years ago.
Right. But 10 years ago. So you can go back and look at Chris's journey. Like I said, you can go back and look at my journey. And then over the next sort of 5 years, even over the next year, you can see where we're going. And it starts today.
Right, it's mad. I was literally in a garage with 3 coats on. I still used to get cold back then. 3 coats on, shivering, saying to people, I won't do success advice until I'm successful. I was like, I'm just a guy who quit his 9-to-5 job, was able to make 2 grand a month, and now I'm able to live my own life and have freedom. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like, I'm buying you guys a house in Granada. You can join, like, you come join me. Yeah. Like, the journey is incredible. Yeah. And then people still sit there and go, oh, you scammer.
They'll only look at that.
That's how crazy the industry's got. Yeah. You can literally go back to the fullest video and trace the steps one by one and just be like, oh shit, there's genuine progression here, step by step.
Yeah.
Like,
no one does that though.
I honestly, do you know what's nice now though? People are getting smarter because they're actually checking stuff like Companies House. They're actually going on and being like, well, you know, if you said that you made this much, where is it? And there's a lot of content creators where you go, you've never filed a tax return.
Yeah.
And you fled to Dubai here. So that was when you launched the course and the NFT. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I know your exact journey. Like,
Even
well
just-
done, but you know, we can see exactly what you've done.
Even just filing a tax return.
Yeah.
Is a bit like,
It was tough.
we were saying about our tax return.
Yeah.
My tax return I filed last year shows a loss.
Yeah.
Because I was pouring all my money back into the business.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my accountant about it, and I took my salary and I took my little dividend. I could have taken 50 grand as a maximum dividend, but I didn't. The rest of it was a loss. So like, if people look at that, like, it's undeniable that I've invested back into the company, because you'll literally see, I think it's nearly 50K that I invested back into the business under consulting. It's under consulting, because my accountant just put it under consulting.
It'll go down as a director's loan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you'll see the breakdown of my tax return on Companies House, because it's been filed. And if you look at all these other guys, if they're set up in the UK, they don't have an LTD, they don't have a sole trader, they don't have anything. Right, they're just operating, and then they'll fuck off to Dubai because the tax is,
Because they know it's coming.
Exactly.
Do you want to know how crazy this industry's become? I said for 3 years that I want to put every penny back into the business. I was like, I'm going to put every penny back in for you guys. I want to help. I want to help the brand. I want to support it. I'm not interested in paying myself. Everyone was like, well done, what a guy. Then a video came out from, it was my accounts from 3 years ago. I made £117,000, basically broke even. And then I put 2 grand of my own money in director's loan and apparently made a 2 grand loss. Right. And I was like, fair enough. But I had like £200,000-300,000 worth of stock, supplements and all that stuff and whatever. And then crypto savings and whatnot. But that's besides the point. But the fact that I said I was going to put all my money back in for years, I do exactly that. And then there's videos on, this guy's a scammer, he made a loss, he doesn't make as much money as he says he does. And you're like, this is how delusional the industry's become.
Yeah.
How can you not see that that's reinvestment? How can you not see that that's real business? It's insane. Like, we know what we're dealing with the house right now. Like, they say to me, yeah, your business makes X, but what have you paid yourself? And you go, well, a good business person doesn't. That's the whole point of, you know, running your own business, is you keep the money in the business. They penalize me for that as well. I try and describe that to people on school calls, and they're like, wait, so you haven't got any money? Like, this is why we need to do this channel. This is why we need to actually teach people. This is real life. This is how much things actually cost. Everyone thinks it's easy.
Yeah.
They genuinely think it's going to take 6 months to become a multimillionaire, and it's going to be a meme coin that does it. And it's like, do you know what I'm scared of? It's the same thing when I first came into this industry, and I said, a lot of you guys are going to miss the male advantage. I'm worried for you. And I got so much flack for this. I was the first one to start it. But I said, I apologize to any women listening, but I was the first one to say that men peak later in life, and, you know, women's is earlier. That's just beauty. That's not to say anything else. Do you know what I mean? And that's perspective again and stuff like that. But I was one of the first to say that men and women are on different timelines. And I got so much flack for that. And I said, no, but what I'm trying to do is help women. Because what I don't want is them to be lied to, is like, where's all the single ladies, you know, divorce is great and whatnot. And then what would happen is you'd be sat there at 35 years old, lonely and single, going, shit, all my friends are married with kids. What am I doing? And that's happened. So now you see all these videos out there, and I'm like, I was only trying to help. I was only trying to point out that if you reject everybody for like 10 years and think you're like this high level individual, and you listen to all these Nicki Minaj tunes and stuff like that, it's only going to end with you being on your own and lonely and single. So I was like, we need to really, you know, we need to be on top of that. Sorry, that's mine. I just move it somewhere. And I think the same thing is happening now. I think the same thing, I can see it now. There'll be, in about 10 years time, you're going to have all these young men from this industry that are complaining about how they got lied and scammed. And they were told that, you know, if you just do drop shipping, if you just do property, if you run to the back of the room and touch the wall and you're the first one to sign up, you will earn 50,000 tomorrow and stuff like that. And all these young lads will be like, I've been trying to get rich quick for 10 years and it's led to nothing. And they're all going to be 30, 35 years old, starting fresh and going, how do I really do it? But the problem is they're going to lack patience because they've never seen the real system. The one who wins is the guy who goes, right, I've got a 10-year plan, I'm going to take my time with it. But they're all getting fed this advice of being a millionaire is easy. You know, just buy my course. It's easy. All you have to do is set up, and then they come up with an acronym, whatever. Like, it's come up with like, oh, it's going to be a, you know, a PWXYZ system that you're going to run and all this shit. And people have been doing that on different systems for like 2 years now. I don't really see many people making killer money. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there's more depression than ever.
Yeah.
People are in serious financial issues because they're taking out. There's a guy in one of my groups, I won't name his name, but he was like, I bought Imam Gadzhi's course for 10K, right? And I went, okay, wow, that's a risk. I was like, how'd you get on? He just talks about how much money he makes, the whole course. And I was like, so what did you learn? Well, nothing. And I was like, I did try and warn you lot that I looked into his tax returns and he hasn't actually made the money he says he's made. But this is the industry now. And do you know what he's very good at though? Marketing. He's very good at going, shiny car, shiny car. Look at me go shopping with 20K. Look at me in the back of a Rolls Royce. A lot of these things are easy to do because all you have to do is a very good strategy. You make a ton of money. Maybe you put $1 million in the bank and then you just live off the above. So you just cream off the top. So as long as you got that $1 million or $2 million baseline, you just cream off the top. Some people are doing it with 30 grand. So they'll have 30 grand in the account and then they'll make 10 every month. And they spend 10, make 10, spend 10, make 10, spend 10. Always leave 30 as a baseline. And then it makes them look like they've got a millionaire's lifestyle, whereas in reality, there's no progression. They've just got a bank account locked in at a certain fund amount and then live it, that's their backup. That's their zero. And then everything above that, they're spending a whole lot every month. But it's fooling everybody. It's a real problem. Once you're behind the scenes in the industry, you see it all, you tell people and they go, that makes sense because I've been following that guy for 3 years. Like I do one-to-one calls, as you know.
Yeah.
The guys jump on the one-to-one calls and they're like, I'll be honest with you, at the end, they go, this is like the 4th call that I've had with a guru or an expert or somebody that I've been following for years. This is the only one that's genuinely helped. And I'm not just saying that to toot my own horn, but I've got the emails and everything to prove it. They're like, can I book in another one next week? They're like, I nearly didn't book this because the last 3 that I've had with, and they'll name the people. They're like, I learned nothing. It's basically surface level. And I'm like, yeah, because that person's never had a 9-to-5 job. That person's never lived in the real world. You're 22 years old getting advice off a 23-year-old who apparently made money because, you know, he made a few videos and his audience grew. Like it is a serious problem. And I've got a major fear, just like I had with the women, that I was trying to warn them, but I got all the shit early on and then everyone else jumped into the industry and got the benefit of that narrative. But the same thing is going to happen to all these young lads. They're going to be sat there in 10 years' time going, I'm actually worse off. I'm leveraged up to the eyeballs and I've got about 12 loans. It is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because they're all trying to keep up with each other. Yeah. And they're taking out loans to buy courses. Like 10K courses isn't sustainable. Like buying other people's courses all the time. Like it's ridiculous. Trying to keep up with this lifestyle, trying to keep up with the fashion. Like I don't currently have a watch. That's just my personal choice. There's lads that I know that are making about 4 grand a month that have got like 20, 30 grand watches and better cars than me and everything. I'm just like, what are you lot doing?
Yeah.
What are you lot doing?
Yeah.
There's no sustainability in this lifestyle. Yeah, for 5 years you might go viral. Do you know what I mean? You might be able to wing it for a little bit, but what are these guys, these experts going to do at 40? They're going to be in 9-to-5 jobs. And mark my words right now, in a year or 2, I think it'll be closer to 2 years because I think some of them have got some savings lined up and they'll be able to wing it for a little while with a new course and the next thing and the next thing. Give it 2 years and 95% of this industry will be 9-to-5 jobs. They'll be doing high ticket sales behind the scenes and you just won't hear from them. I've got a true belief that 2 or 3 are doing it already. They're doing high ticket sales and then they just jump on and do some videos and whatever. I almost know for a fact, I almost know for a fact 2 or 3 that are doing it who are currently driving Lamborghinis and telling you guys what to do.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. That's why you need to document everything, right?
Yeah.
It's like I said, I read out the time a minute ago because I'm like, it's 20 to 12, 26th of November, which is a Tuesday. We're sitting here in the middle of the day talking. Like we don't have 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah.
Like, and you'll see the footage that we put out. You can look at my YouTube channel, Chris's YouTube channel. Like it's literally the middle of the day and we're in London and Chris is in Granada. Like wherever it is, like we're not trying to hide anything. So the more you document that, you know, if your videos are going out at like 7 o'clock in the evening and then you don't hear anything from them, it's like highly likely that they're getting in from their job.
Yeah.
They're doing their editing or they're getting their editor to confirm it. Then they're putting it out. It's like, I can put out content whenever I like. I can put stuff on my story whenever I like because I've earned the right to do so. I've gone through 5 years of struggle of like trying to find my way through the mud of the industry at, you know, an age that's a lot older than some of the guys that I'm trying to learn from.
Yeah.
Trying to find the right person. I spent thousands of pounds on the wrong people. I got myself into so much debt. Like to this day, I'm still trying to dig it out, dig myself out of it because I made poor choices. And again, I made poor choices this year because I lost money, but that was something that was, kind of like blindsiding me a little bit, but it just proves that you're human and how toxic the industry can be. And it's only really in the last year and a bit, I'd say probably the last 16 to 18 months, that I've kind of feel like I found my feet. And there's been so many years of struggle, like even just questioning, like, is it all worth it? Like, because you just try something, you just get kicked down, and you see some guy who's 5, 10 years younger than you flexing, and you're like, what's the point? Like what I was saying earlier about guys going online, trying to start now, making, I don't know, like making 2-3 grand. And then you see some guy living in Dubai making 10, 20, 30 grand. It's like, they're so demotivating because you just think, well, what's the point? Like, I can't be that guy. Like, I'm never going to be that guy. Or they think as well, oh, I can be that guy. It looks easy. And then they realize it's not. And then they just lose money. Like you were just saying.
That's the biggest part.
Yeah.
Is people have gone, we've had 2 or 3 years where people go, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll follow this guy's course. I'll buy it. And then they've gone, phew, this is rough.
That didn't work out.
How is he making money off this? And then they go, buy my next thing. And then it gets to the point where people go, oh, just fuck off. I'm not doing it anymore. And I think there's going to be some changes this year. And I think the biggest one is, like, most people's audiences are getting older. And I always predicted this, like, somebody joins you at 18. Most of the people now that join me at 18 are 24. They want new shit. Do you know what I mean? And what they get is they get more intelligent. You can't be fooled as easily. So what they want now is realism. And my prediction for the future is it's going to go personal. So, like, back in the day when people would, meet up in men's groups and stuff like that and be part of clubs and whatnot, that's 1M International. That's what we're doing. And the feedback is ridiculous. Like, we did the testimonials the other day. Every testimonial said the same thing. To be able to actually meet like-minded guys in person and actually see somebody online and then see that they're doing it in real life, meet up with them and have those discussions and see if they are legit. They were like, that's the game changer for me. They're like, this has made me feel, every one of them was like, I'm signing up again next year. Definitely signing up again next year. It gets mocked online, oh, gay men's club and stuff like that. And it's like, I invited all of those scammers. The other day, I sent them all a message. I said, do you want to come to the house? Sorry, all the guys who made scam videos on me. I was like, come to the house in Granada. There's 6 bedrooms. I will pay all of your flights and I'll pay for you to be there for a week. I'll be there with a minibus. I'll drive you around everywhere. I'll get all your food, etc. All paid for by me. Enjoy yourselves. Now I'm good. I'll pass. Do you know why? Because it ruins their entire channel. If they can't say you're a scammer, it ruins everything that they do.
Ruins their narrative, doesn't it? Yeah.
And it's like, because you can't doubt in person. That's the only thing you can't go against. Like, everything else, you could say, this is rubbish. That's rubbish. Oh, I tried that and that was garbage. Like, that's opinion piece. In person, you can't question. And I think a lot of people are going, okay, let's actually meet. Let's actually do this sort of thing. Let's actually do long form content. Let's sit there for 2 hours and actually see if this guy has a brain, rather than 10-second soundbite.
Yeah.
Controlled by your editor.
Yeah.
And it's all off a script. And you've done like 16 attempts and they've taken the best one. Because that's a movie. You don't usually see in a movie like a guy go and pick up a woman and everyone goes, oh, that guy's smooth. Wish I could do that. It's like, yeah, because he's had 15 takes.
Yeah.
So they've taken the best one and it's rehearsed. And then she's got a rehearsed reaction, which is she's going to then give to him. So everyone's like, smoothest thing I've ever seen.
They've dialed it in, haven't they?
Yeah, they've dialed it in. And it's the same with their content.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing. They're like, okay, because I've been behind the scenes, I've seen it. They go, right, we're going to ask you this. You're going to say this. And then we're going to go boom. And that'll be the intro. And they're like, okay, yeah, brilliant. I've seen it. I've refused to do it. And then they edit it how they see fit. They put it out at a different time and stuff. It's garbage. Behind the scenes is complete garbage. And I think people are becoming aware now. They've been exposed to it. They're getting older and they want what you have, which is why I think this is so important, because this is the next level, the end goal. Whatever you try and do, if you want to be successful, you want to make money, you want to get in shape, it all stems down to finding a very good woman. It does, as men, like everything in its root cause, or its root core, is finding a good woman, having some kids, building a family. And it's like, then you see a man who's done that. And you've said, like, there's other people that are more successful than you. There's very successful guys that would look at Gary and be like, I wish I had what you had. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could be making $1 million a month. You might also be suicidal. The guy who created Minecraft he's a billionaire and he's suicidal. And it's like, what purpose does he have though? You need something bigger than yourself. Like, I'm well known as saying, it's my first ever video, selfish men succeed. They do, but it's the same as the quote, if you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Selfish men, it's the same thing. If you want to do it quickly, if you want to get stuff done, you do that. but then there has to be phase 2. It's almost like 1stMan, as in selfishness. I'm first. I'm putting myself first, and then it becomes all man. And that's the next phase. But you have to do the 1stMan to get to the all man, to get to where you've got. And people should look at somebody like Gary and be like, yeah, Gary doesn't have a lime green Lamborghini. Fourth time I mentioned it, drink every time. And, you know, you don't have that, but you have something that's far stronger, and you get to go home every night. And you know, and they say, oh, but will your Lamborghini keep you warm at night? No, but your kids and your missus actually will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It genuinely will. You know, this evening, and my son's still up, but like, he's going to come and give me a hug. Like, it's the best feeling in the world.
Exactly.
You know, if I'm walking into my 8-bedroom mansion and I can hear my shoes clacking on the marble floor, and I'm looking around thinking,
where is everyone?
Where is everyone? I'm by myself, and then I'm sitting outside on a lovely, beautiful day with no one to share it with, no one to talk to. Like, it's depressing. It's lonely. You know, how many billionaires you know that are divorced? Right? Because this thing, like, if you want to get to that level, fine, right? But realize it comes with sacrifice, and realize that it's not going to fulfill you unless you're an extreme case like Elon Musk talks about, literally changing humanity. That's his purpose. Fine,
different,
right? If you want to steamroll relationships and family for that, and he feels like he can literally be the guy that's going to do that, fine. But everyone's trying to be like Bezos and Elon. No one's trying to just be themselves and say, right, I want a business that gives me 5-10K a month, more than enough to live on, like in a good life, but not an outrageous lifestyle. But you can still live a very good life on that money. And I want to have a rock solid relationship with a fantastic woman who is, you know, calm, like serene. She supports me. We're just yin and yang, right? We're just there. I want to build a family with her and share it with her and embrace it. Life doesn't get much better than that. That's the core essence. Like, you can strip everything away. You can strip the holidays, the Hermes bags, like the Rolexes. You can strip all of that away, because you've just been psyoped into thinking that that's gonna fill the void. And I've been there and I've done it, and I've bought the watches. I bought a watch last year, a Tudor watch, not a Rolex. I just thought, all right, but I'm going to buy a nice Tudor because I like the look of it, right? And everyone says Tudors are basically Rolexes anyway. They're made in the same factory, right? But they're not as prestigious. But I bought it, and I'm like, yeah, this is really nice. And then when the dopamine fades away, and that was because I was kind of told like certain things, oh, you should celebrate your successes, you should treat yourself, and all this stuff. And I did fall for that, and I'm thinking, right, this isn't nice to have, but I ended up selling it. I literally sold it to a client in February of this year.
Yeah.
For $3,000, and I was like, I just don't need it anymore. And my missus said, "Are you getting rid of it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just don't need it anymore." Like, my mindset just shifted because, you know, like I said, in the last, say, 16 to 18 months, I have found my feet, but I've still made snap decisions like that. I'm still learning every day, but that's something to learn from, and that's something to say, you know, the next guy that shows you that he's got a Rolex on his wrist, don't think that that's going to make you happy, because I don't need it. I know a watch is a watch, right? I've had this watch since 2018, and this was bought for me as a gift, like, because I liked it. Someone bought it for me as a gift, but I didn't think anything of it back then. It was just, you know, I was working in BMW at the time, and I did a really good job, and someone bought me it as a gift, as a thank you. So I was like, right, cool, you know? And I think no matter what level you climb, what rung of the ladder you stand on, no watch or no materialistic item is going to make you feel better. And what you really need is purpose, fulfillment, and family. They're the things that really need to encompass your life if you actually want to be happy, I suppose, or content. Let's use the word content, because happiness is a fleeting state. But if you're content, if you can kind of just go around life not feeling extremely happy or excited, and not feeling sad and depressed, you're just in the middle, you're just like perfect homeostasis. You're just like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm content.
With constant progression.
Yeah.
Like, if you were 18, 19 years old, you were already worth 20 million, you'd be like, what next?
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea. I heard a Gary V quote the other day. It was like, he was talking about entrepreneurs. He said, enjoy your career. And I was like, that makes so much sense. Like, this is your career. Like, it doesn't matter if somebody's making more and whatnot. This is your journey. This is your career. If you're not gonna, you know, enjoy it along the way and enjoy the process, so to speak. I know that's cliche, but it really is. Like, this is my career. I'm living it right now. Like, I have to be immersed in this. If you're not going to do that, 20 years time, you're going to look back and be like, what was all that about? Like, the constant progression of, if every year your business doubles its money, that's fantastic. Do you know what I mean? That's unbelievable. And do you know a funny story? Because people might watch this and think, oh, we're just being haters because we don't have 83 million in the bank and whatnot. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't like saying figures anymore, but I've done £80,000 per month last year a few times in a row. On average, it's £40,000 to £50,000 per month. You know, life is good. But it's a funny story because when I was doing £2,000 per month, I would go for a coffee. I would go for a coffee. I'd watch a movie at the cinema. I'd maybe go and, you know, get some food or whatever on a date and then come back, watch a movie at home, just chill and whatever. Maybe go to the gym, something like that. When I started making a ton of money, I went to the gym. It was a slightly better gym. It might have been third space, you know, same sort of thing. I went to a coffee shop. Yeah, the coffee was about £2 more because it was in, I don't know, maybe Paris or it was in South Kensington or something like that compared to Cheltenham. And then, you know, the women just ever so slightly prettier. But I'm like, in theory, or the cinema got slightly better. It became one of those cinemas with the sofas and whatever. And I sat there one day and went, I'm doing all the same shit. I'm doing all the same shit I was doing before. It just cost me about £100 extra per week.
Yeah.
I was like, that's mad. You work all your life to just go back and do all the same stuff. But literally nothing's changed.
That's what it is. And you just do it in a nicer location. Or,
Yeah.
you know, you go from, I mentioned my Skoda, you go from a Skoda to a Porsche. You're still driving a car.
Driving the same
But that
routes.
feeling will fade eventually.
Yeah.
Like, you'll get the dopamine hit for a few months and then it will fade. And then on to the next thing and the next thing. And if you're chasing that and you've got no one to share it with, you've got no one to kind of rein you in, or you've got no one to do different things with and experience different things with and have a different perspective. For me as a father now, I see things from my son's perspective. I think about him. I'm like, okay, so he's at 2 years old, he's probably not going to remember this, but I will. And he will have a great time in the moment. So that to me is way more important than going and doing something for myself just because it's only me. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of you guys may listen to this thinking, well, I'm not ready for kids. Fine. But think about how your life is going to lead up to having kids now, because not saying that everyone needs to have kids. I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, you know, you need to have kids to be happy. Like, you don't. But that's what life is all about. Like, as human beings, we're put on the earth to procreate and to survive. There's literally the two things. So if you're not like pushing towards one of those two things, to procreate or to survive and like have the best life possible and feel fulfillment and not just feel shallow and materialistic, and then have a sense of worthlessness, you know, by the time you hit 40 and you're just sitting alone in your penthouse and like, what the fuck next? You know, think about that, because you can chase that path and you can have, like Chris said earlier, 5 to 10 years where you're on top and you feel invincible, or you can chase the family path or even just the relationship path and then share it with someone for the rest of your life and build that life together, build that legacy. So yeah, that's, that for me is like what I'm focused on now. It's the relationship with my son, a relationship with my wife. Like, I come after that, I lead, but their feelings are ahead of mine. Like, their emotional state is ahead of mine. Their sense of worth is ahead of mine. Like, I'm just content with life. Like, I've got my wife, I've got my son, I've got my business, I've got great people around me. Life's good. I don't need any more than that. If I can make them happy and I can serve more people, that's what's going to keep the wheel churning. But my state will not change, but it will just keep me in that nice continuous flow. I don't need to go and buy a watch. I don't need to go and buy another car. I don't need to go on holiday just to go up and down all the time and just to fill the void. And when that dopamine dips, I think, oh, I need another holiday now. Oh, I need another watch now. I'm like a crack addict. Because that's what people are. They're just addicted to that high, to that validation, to that dopamine.
So it's like saying money and women are bottomless pits, and they are. Just, you know, you need to be less of a Neanderthal when it comes to those things. To be like, okay, I need sustainability. And well, one thing that I'm massively celebrating at the moment is something that I aspire to. You just look at people in the Islamic faith, Jewish faith, and stuff like that, and they build their families, and like Russian people as well, like around from that area. They're successful because they build their families like the mafia. The way that they structure it. I was in Paris recently. This guy came out of this 5-star hotel, beautiful wife with him. They had 3 beautiful kids, like all dressed nice. They get in the back of the car, the driver's driving them around and whatever around Paris. And I was like, look at what they've built. Look at the structure of that. Look at the unity. Whether he has a good day or bad day, and he was on the phone, he's obviously doing business, but whether he has a good day or bad day, they're there for him. He's got this structure of people that he trusts. You add in a few good friends, you don't need much more. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That should be the goal of life. And you know, the money facilitates that. Without the money, you can't have all of that.
Course,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's just like, I feel as though, like I said, my biggest danger, and I have a genuine fear about this, is in 10 years' time, we're going to have a lot of lost men. They're just like, okay, so I made a bit of quick money. I don't have a purpose. I don't have a business. My brain is destroyed from having endless one-night stands because apparently they told me that was the best thing to do. And they're just going to be sat there like, what now?
Yeah.
And you're just going to see this massive increase in male depression, suicide. You can see it coming. You really can, because they're all just sat there going, I don't know what to do next. And it's like, because you don't have a plan. You literally don't have a plan. Your whole plan is just get money and stunt.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like, everyone should do it for a little while. It's almost like saying, I went out and got drunk when I was young, but you shouldn't do it because it's bad. Like, go and do it for a little while, see what you think, and then get tired of it, just like I did. Everyone needs to do it. So maybe go and do it for a little while. Like, maybe go and spend a little bit. See how quickly it puts you in the hole. See how quickly the tax man comes knocking on your door and says, where's that 50K? Because they do. It's happened to me.
Yeah,
my tax bill this year was atrocious. Like, to the point where you go, I'm going to have to rejig my entire yearly strategy based off that. And it's just like, this doesn't get taught because the guys who are teaching you are tax evading. They're flying around the world, avoiding it all and stuff like that. And people call it smart, but it's dodgy for somebody who's just starting a new business. It's dodgy for these young lads. It's like, you need something bigger than this. You need good people around you because people will take advantage of you. And contrary to belief, is not the gold diggers. It's not the women. They do exist. It's the men. The men do try and take advantage of you. They will come. They'll try and skim off the top. They'll try and take a little bit of money. They'll try and do this and that. And everybody's got the best offer. And, you know, they're trying to pitch to you and stuff like that. And it's a dangerous world if you're not clued up. You need to know, like, we've lost the basics. You need to know the accountancy terms. You need to know your finances. You need to know your profit margins. You need to know, like, your baseline figures. Whereas everyone's just going, right, course 997, apparently it works, make money. Oh, what do I do now? And it's a nightmare of a strategy because once it gets saturated, nobody has any actual real business skills. And honestly, right, I'm going to get into this now. Here, I know we're ending, but here's my biggest issue.
So we've got about 10 minutes, mate.
Oh, perfect. So here's my biggest issue moving forward. If you're 21 years old and you started a YouTube channel, you built up an audience, you started making loads of money and you were selling courses, stuff like that. When the industry crashes, you've never had a 9-to-5 job. You're unemployable. So what happens next? If this whole entrepreneurial thing doesn't work, what happens next? If this online course dropshipping thing doesn't work, what's next? Because you attacked it for 4 or 5 years, you spunked all your money, and then you came back and went, can I have a job now? And they're going to go, what's this massive gap? Oh, he's dropshipping. Oh, you're one of those. You don't have a trade. You don't have a real skill. You know, I worked in marketing. I worked in finance for like 4, 5, 6 years. It's like, I can go back to that anytime.
Yeah.
You know, I could probably get a 6-figure wage, worst case scenario, plus houses that I've bought around the world and go, right, okay, I can balance that out. But a lot of these guys are like 24 years old and never worked a job in their life. They came fresh out of school, uni, whatever, started making content. It's like they've got no backbone. That's going to be, we're going to have a serious issue on our hands with a lot of skillless individuals. Did you see the South Park sketch where the guy who was a handyman, he had a pickup truck, he was a handyman, and they were all multimillionaires?
Yeah.
Because nobody has those skills anymore.
Yeah.
That's something that's going to happen.
It's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone's like, oh, I do courses. What happens when that all fizzles out? What happens when they go, okay, you now need a license to sell courses because everyone's getting scammed?
This is an unregulated industry.
Unregulated industry.
And that the regulations will come.
Yeah,
the government will want a piece of that.
I mean, look at crypto. Crypto was making so much money. All these regulations came in. Oh, we're going to legalize weed. Oh yeah, I'm going to start selling it. You're not, because it's 100 grand just to get the license.
There you go.
They will do the same with courses. The digital course industry makes billions. The government will look at that and go, right, we need to sort this out. Every course needs to have a taxable amount on it or something, or you need to apply for like a 20 grand license before you can sell an online digital course, and you need to go through training or something like that will happen. Whole industry collapses overnight. And then you go, okay, what's your trade? What's your skill? What can you fall back on? Well, I've kind of been scamming people for 7 years. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Or I've been trying to chase the bag for 7 years.
Yeah.
But what do you do? Yeah. What is your thing? And they don't have it. That's a problem. We're going to have, like, the unemployment rate is just going to go through the roof.
I agree, mate. I do. I mean, I was in the motor trade for 14 years and now I'm selling like a members club and a community, like for guys basically to come in and improve their lives. You know, there's no course where I just kind of hand you off and give you a digital product. You get access to me, and like, you know, Chris has won him international. You get access to him. You literally travel the world with him. So there's proof of it, like you were saying earlier with the testimonials. Like, it's a lifestyle for guys to live and be part of a brotherhood, and a lot of men need that now. It's not just buy a course and try and get rich by yourself. It's actually learn, like have a platform to learn. It's the club. And I completely agree. I want to circle back to what you were saying about the guys, because we're running out of time here. But just quickly, all the guys that are trying to chase the bag. And as I said earlier, if you want to do that, fine, right? I'm not going to stop you. If you want to make millions, fine. But just realize that the life skills you need to live a fulfilling life are going to pass you by if you're only fixated with money, because you're not doing it with any intention. You're doing it just to fill a hole because you think that it's going to give you a better life. The more I earn, the better my life will be. But you're going to get to the age of 30, 32, maybe even 35, my age. And I'm 35, but I've got a 2-year-old son. And I've been married for 3 years. And I've got a great relationship with my family, a great relationship with friends around me because I've earned that along the way. You're just going to chase the bag, and then you're going to have to circle all the way back again, and you haven't got the experience. And you're not going to know how to find the right partner. You're going to be 35 or in your 30s going, I don't know how to do this. All I know about is how to make money and how to scam people and how to sell courses. I don't have any real life skills. And you're going to be a lost man. You're going to be going, all these guys around me that aren't as good looking as me, don't have as much money as me, are happier. They've got the right woman by their side. They've got a family on the way. Like, they're steady. And I've got millions in the bank, and I've got this apartment, I've got this, but no one wants me because you don't know how to earn the woman. You don't know how to earn the right woman and actually have her in your corner. You don't know how to plan for having a family because you've just overlooked it. Maybe you haven't even registered that it's a possibility for you. You've just gone, yeah, I'm just going to make bagging and see what happens. Right? You just blindsided yourself.
Can't change a tire. Can't fix a sink.
Can't even have basic life skills because you've just gone, well, I'm going to go all in online and then see what happens, right? Because that's going to make me happy. Because 5th time we mention it, lime green Lamborghini, have another drink, guys. That's what's going to fill the void. And people say, oh, I'm going to cry in my Lamborghini and I'll be fine. It's like, yeah, cool, right? But that's just such a stupid mentality to have.
It's a mentality of somebody who doesn't have one.
Yeah.
It really is. Because if you had one, you'd go, yeah, it was okay. I scratched an itch for a little while. I got loads of people looking at me. Oh, but that became boring quickly because then I got robbed. It brings attention that you don't really need. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm going to get a custom number plate. Okay, well, I'm just going to follow you, track you back to your house. Now I know where you live. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Yeah. Like I said to you, Eubank Jr., I saw him on the bridge. I was in a 9-to-5 job in London, went for a walk, saw a Koenigsegg coming the other way. I think it was Koenigsegg or Pagani's Honda. It was ridiculous. And it said Eubank Jr. And I looked and went, yeah, it's him. And I went, well, I need to. He's going to get robbed in about a week or two. So about 2 weeks later, it's on the news. He was fuming. Oh, my house got robbed. These people need to make their own money. And I was like, probably don't advertise your location with your car because people just follow you around.
Yeah.
There's not a massive benefit to, it comes with some attention. Yeah, you probably went home with somebody that night. Fantastic. Well done, mate. I actually applaud that. Well done. Like, that's a good life. It's an enjoyable experience. But then 4 other people followed you home too. And that's the problem. People aren't switched on. They're making money, but they're not switched on. They go on holiday and they vlog it in real time. And it's like, no, release it a week later when you're actually back home. They don't have these basic things that my dad taught me. And do you know what's dangerous? Those guys are going to have kids and then teach those kids. And you think, what sort of a flop are those kids going to be?
It's just a snowball effect.
It's a snowball effect.
There's no, as I've said before, substance to what you're doing. It is just floating around in the abyss, trying to find your way and hoping that something's going to stick. The more money I make, the better my life will be. But you've got to actually have intelligence to apply this. You've got to have intelligence to think your way through this logically and not mindlessly sell courses to people, not mindlessly sell stuff. And that's why I built this brand. And that's why I've got Chris on this podcast, is to actually have people who have made the mistakes that we want to help you avoid, and to actually go, hang on a minute, these guys are kind of talking about my life right now. I need to actually think about how I'm going to end up. Because we've been there. I was there at the age of 29. Like, I've shared this on my YouTube. I've shared when I was like earning good money in my job, but I was miserable as fuck and I was overweight. Something had to change because I just chased the bag, but I'd done it on a corporate ladder rather than an entrepreneurial job. And I just left me like with this massive void. And I was like, right, my relationship is shot because I'm emotional and I'm tired and I'm overweight all the time. I'm not showing up for my missus, who I intend to marry like in a couple of years. And I'm engaged to her. Like, something needs to change. And having that moment, that epiphany where you go, there's more to life than this. Like, I don't want to be like those gurus that snake everybody. And I actually want to have a life where I can die happy, and I can die with a family that's happy, and I can die with a partner. Like, if she dies before me or I die after, whatever. But either way, she's going to be happy and she's going to have a great life alongside me. And if more men had that mentality, I genuinely believe the world would be a better place, because women would actually have stronger men to lean on.
Well, I think men are getting weaker because of this.
Yeah, exactly.
They would say, "Oh, you know, that's that quote, which is like, weak men create hard times, hard times create strong men." Everyone's using that now and saying, "Look at these new people that have risen to the top and they're teaching us. They're the weakest.
Yeah,
They are the weakest. They're all scamming you, and it's creating even weaker men. It's going to get worse before it gets better." I mean, perfect example. I was 22 years old. My old mentor was in his mid-30s and he was making millions per year. He had, I don't know if people remember I Like Girls Daily on Twitter. He was the original. Like, people who upload pictures and like OnlyFans, all of this stuff. He basically started it. He's a genius. And he said, "I'm selling it." I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because I want to have kids and my kids are not going to be proud of what I've done." Like, this guy's making millions off it and he's just like, "I'm going to sell it." He's like, "I have to sell it up." He was like, "So if I choose to have kids in the future, they're going to be embarrassed of dad." He's like, "I can't tell them I do this." How crazy is that? So, you know, if we just got to that age where he was just like, "I can't do this anymore." He was like, "It's terrible." He's like, "I'm literally looking at pictures of women all day and just posting them out." And it's like, it's the progression bias. The progression bias means what you think you want right now, you think you'll want it forever. So when you're a kid and you're like, "I need that toy, I need those trainers," you don't think about it now. You look back and you're like, "What the fuck did I want that toy and those trainers? I'd rather have had the money that I could have used 10 years later for university or whatever it is, or where we are now. I could have used that for a deposit on a house or whatnot." But you chase after it. You know, your first car, you're like, "This is going to make me look good to all my mates." 10 years on, you're like, "That car was garbage. I should have just got the bus. It had a loud exhaust and neon lights." And you're like, I wouldn't want that anymore if somebody paid me. So you've got to tap into like 40-year-old you. You got to think, even if you're watching this now and you're 18, you got to think, what will 40-year-old me want? It's hard to do because you don't want it right now, but you have to know that one day you'll be sat there in your massive house with your nice patio, with your beautiful woman, your kids running around, your friends and family around you. And it will be one summer, it'll be a lovely summer. You'll be sat out late, you'll be sipping on a red wine and you'll go, "Thank you, 20-year-old me, for building something sustainable. Because what I'm doing right now, this is life. This is happiness. Not having, you know, the expensive lime green Lamborghini." There you go. There's another shot. Not having the expensive lime green Lamborghini at 21. Because it's like, that's short-lived. Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's an experience. Great. But like, I'm 32 now. Every phase of my life, I've been like, "Thank God I did that. Thank God I was patient. Thank God I wait." Can't do it forever. You can't sit there at 99 and be like, "Now's my time to cash in." You know, so there comes a point. But I promise you guys, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s is life. Everything else before that is pretty much pre-season. Don't be in a rush, because right now I feel like I'm 18 physically, mentally. You feel the same.
I'm 35.
We've just started a podcast.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You think we've just undertook this? 1M International started 3 months ago. And it's just like, I'm at the start of my life. I didn't, like, what I thought was going to be my life isn't even, you know, it might not even be YouTube moving forward. It might not be any of that. You know, what is my brand? And it's like, what you thought it was, it might not be. It might just change completely. You might start something else. And it's just like, it's the sustainability to get you to the years that matter, the decades that matter. And I really want to touch on that point again, because my neighbors had this setup. My neighbors, I learned a lot from them. They were like in their 50s when I was growing up, and they had all the expensive, like the White Company, Neptune, all the nice furniture. And they're like, even the cups were heavy. Do you know what I mean? They were like high quality ceramic cups and like porcelain tiles and everything. They'd sit out in summer, invite us around. We'd be sipping on an apple juice. They'd be having a red wine with my mum and dad. All the kids running around, everyone just hanging out, having a laugh and a joke. And I was like, that's life. That is life, because youth doesn't last long. Youth is over by like 25, preferably 21. But for most people by 25, they go, "Okay, I need more now." So what you're going to do, base your entire life from, let's say, 16 when you first start driving to 25. So 9 years. That's best case scenario. That's like the most youth you can possibly live of like real actual life. Now 18 is probably more likely, and it's probably going to end before 25. But let's say you do 18 to 25, 7 years. That's basically most people's youth. You're basing your entire life around like living in those years, you know, stunting and making it happen while you're young. And it's like, you've got another like 53 years after that you're probably going to live, which is where life begins, where it matters, where you're going to have the stuff that life is actually about, the stuff you remember. Because my dad died 3 years ago. I think it goes so quick, doesn't it? It might even be 4. I think it was 3 years ago. On his deathbed, all he wanted, well, in the last like 2-3 months of his life, all he wanted was family around him. He wasn't worried about anything else. So you're like, okay, that puts it into perspective. Now, he wouldn't have family if he didn't work hard, build a business and have stuff and whatnot. But his family was up here, no other thought. no other thought in the world. Wasn't thinking about anything. He wasn't saying to me, oh, when I was 18, he was talking about, you know, that holiday we had when I was like 44 and you kids were young and we went to wherever. That's what he remembers. Like, it's those core memories. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where the deepness is. And I want guys to build their life for that, because they think, oh, I'm never going to be young again. And it's like, you don't want to be.
Yeah,
it's so much better now.
Yeah, you just learn it.
It's so much better now.
Yeah.
Like going for a coffee, me and you, we'll go and sit and have a coffee and have a chat. I'll even message you, guys, do you want to go for a coffee, mate? When we were 18, we'd have been like, I think Chris is gay. I think Chris sussed me out on a date. Yeah, he sussed me out on a date. Yeah. Why is he looking at me like that?
And now you can go there and you can talk about life and business because you've got the experience. And honestly, life gets better. Like, I genuinely think the 30s, 30 to 40s is like peak, and then 40s is where you really enjoy life. Like, I can't wait. Like, my 10-year plan started when I was 30. By the time I'm 40, that 10-year period is going to be insane. It's just getting better.
It's funny because I keep saying to people, like, male advantage 30. And now I'm in my 30s. I'm like, guys, I actually think 40s where it's that.
Yeah.
And then every time it's cope. And it's like, no, because it's just getting better.
It is getting better.
So it's like, God knows what the next phase is going to be. Yeah. Like, this is good fun, but should we wrap it up, mate?
Wrap it up, mate. Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to end it, what you were saying there. And yeah, just in closing, I just want to say, like, there's a favorite quote of mine. The world is full of opinions right now and not examples. So the world desperately needs more examples. It needs more men to step up and be the example. So just be the example that you want to see in your life. And yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is, whatever platform you're watching this on, this is the first one that we're doing together. Pilot episode. We'll be doing a lot more. And very, very hard to cram everything in and actually get loads of value that we want to do on this hour podcast. But yeah, really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. This one was very much, you know, the deep dive into why we're doing this. We had to explain our ethos behind it. But then I think moving forward, we'll deep dive into your family life. I think,
100%.
You know, real deep topics and really help
men in the future as well. Yeah, definitely.
I think we'll do that in episode 2. But mate, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, big man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.